Buddy?
Blake's we're gonna start the meeting.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order the February 10th, 2022 Watertown City Plan Commission meeting. Can I get a roll call?
Yes. Dolly.
Here.
Culhane.
Here.
Aletsky.
Present.
Dargett Johnson.
Here.
Hanson.
Here.
Kays.
Here.
And Brink, Spire, and Ford are absent. We have a quorum. And just wanted to introduce Councilman Tupper is the council liaison for the Plan Commission, so he is in attendance here as well. Just to let everyone know of his presence.
Thank you, Mr. Tupper. Glad to have you here. Item 3 on the agenda is invitation for public comment participant submittal. I believe we have a sign up there in the room if you'd like to speak to the board on an item that's not on the agenda today. Or if you're on Teams and would like to go ahead and raise your hand on the team session. I'll move on to item 4 is the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved, Case.
Second.
Any additional discussion on this? We'll take a vote.
All right. Kays.
Aye.
Hanson.
Yes.
Dargett Johnson.
Yes.
Aletsky.
Yes.
Culhane.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes. Agenda is approved. Moving on to item 5A on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 20th, 2022 meeting. Need a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Dargett Johnson. Is there a second?
Second, Culhane.
Any additional comments or discussion on those minutes? Okay, Brandy will take a roll call vote.
All right. Dolly.
Yes?
Culhane.
Yes.
Aletsky.
Yes.
Dargett Johnson.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
Those minutes are approved. Moving on to item 6A on the regular agenda is the commission consideration of resolution number 2022-02, amending the zoning map of the Watertown, of the city of Watertown for a portion of the M and St. L subdivision, Millette and McIntyre's addition and Longworth addition. This is a rezone request from R3 multifamily residential and A1 agricultural district to I1 light industrial district. Randy?
All right. Thank you, Blake. So this property here, Robert Korth is the owner. And as you can see, and as Blake stated, it currently has 3 zoning designations. And then also we have since vacated this portion of Skyline Drive between 4th and 3rd Avenue, making all of these properties contiguous. And then also the legal description is expansive. So this is you'll see too, we'll have the plat for the the Korth First Edition, and then that will clean up the property boundaries and the legal description, and then also just these portions of the lots that are zoned. So this one has a portion of R3 multifamily residential, and then this lot, this parcel over here, has a portion of A1 agricultural district zoning within the property boundary. And per ordinance, one plat or parcel should have the same zoning designation, or it should all be under one. So what he is proposing is to rezone those portions to I1, the light industrial district, and make that whole. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Quick question procedurally, and I'm fine doing it this way, but would we be better off approving the plat, creating the new legal description, or recommend that prior to the rezoning, as opposed to piecemealing the zoning across bizarre legal descriptions?
Well, Mr. Chair, if I might, try to answer Mr. Kays. Yes, there's a couple ways to look at it, I think, and we wanted to see the plat come right with it. It's tough because technically we don't want to plat something that has multiple zoning designations on it, but we want to use the plat at the same time for the legal description. So it's a tough one because in this case it's the chicken or the egg, however you want to look at it, Mr. Case.
It's not, I'm not being critical of it,
No.
it's more of a process.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing because I've seen communities do it different ways, and I think in this particular case, having the plat along with it, I think will help alleviate that. I'd be somewhat uncomfortable to not have the plat with it because the legal description is quite long and a bit cumbersome for somebody to know exactly and recreate that boundary on a map.
Right, because I was just going down the rabbit hole of conditional rezoning, which we try to avoid.
Correct.
And in the situation here, as long as it's being brought together, I think from a practical standpoint, if we didn't have a plat that was going to be coming in right after it, procedurally, I think we would say no.
Agreed.
In the petition, here I have it pulled up, it does break out the different legal descriptions of what is zoned R3 and A1. So that is nice because that is how it exists today. It is platted that way. And then it's just showing that the replat will create the boundary and it'll be one lot, which will clean it up even further. But I do think it is appropriate to do the rezone and then the plat.
And then the other quick question was, is that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the land use plan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just from a standpoint of historically how this situations like this come about, can you speak to that at all, Brandy, on how we ended up with small slivers of this zoned differently than the rest of the legal description?
So that happens when property is transferred without replatting, and then you lose those boundaries. So this was M and St. L subdivision originally, and then so there was a lot line that subdivided these the two zoning designations, and then because there's also, it's diagonal like that because there's a sanitary sewer utility that runs through there. So that's how it happens.
In this situation, that's probably old railroad property, and lots of times railroads just don't care what a community or county zoning regulations are. They do what they want.
And I think also, go ahead. Mr. Chair, if I might just add one additional thing to that, along with the parcel descriptions that are deeded off kind of without, us knowing. I think that the vacation of the right-of-way too, and the right-of-way has been another thing. So getting all of that incorporated into one parcel with a plat will clean that up and have nice and tidy land records for the future.
Brandy, a couple of questions. So what are the setbacks in A1? Light industrial, that's where we're going, right?
Oh, for I-1?
I-1, I'm sorry.
So the front yard is 40 feet, the rear yard is 30 feet, and the side yard is 20 feet.
And what is what on this? What's front and what's rear and what's side and what's what?
So he'll actually have double frontage on 4th and 3rd, so then everything else is side. So he'll need to stay 40 feet back off of 3rd and 40 feet back off of 4th, and then the rest are 20-foot setbacks for side yard.
Yeah. So you'll have the couple front yards, and then you'll have the others as side yards.
So the request that came before us last month on the variance, he wouldn't need to do that under the light A1 or light I1 zone.
He actually, the variance application, that was asking for a variance really from that 20-foot side yard setback in the I-1, so he'll still have to comply to those setbacks.
Or potentially reconfigure the building.
Yeah.
But you have some flexibility, because it was still on the same legal description as this. I
Yep.
get it. I get it. Thank you.
Yeah, now if he'd be rezoning to R3, those would be lesser setbacks, but we were still applying the I-1 setbacks when the variance came through.
And based on the structure of that lot and where those setbacks would apply, it doesn't look like what we would be adding to the zoning designation today would alter where that buildable area is, because they're already touching the frontages with the I-1.
Yeah, right. Right, so then it'll just be a matter of, configuring what type of building he could place in there. But that's unrelated to the rezone and the replat. He'll
Yeah.
still have to conform to them.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to take us off a different topic.
No, you're fine. All good questions.
We do have a public hearing on this, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing if anybody here needs to speak on behalf or against.
Do you have anything to say?
I'm Robert Korth. Oh, excuse me. I'm Robert Korth, the owner of the property. We did go through the previous meeting. The setbacks are still the same 20 feet, as Brandy said, from the side, 40 feet from the front. And I can't go past because of the easements on Skyline Drive. So that's all set in stone from the last meeting. I just want to clean it all up, get a building permit, whatever that may be, because I can't do it on split zoning, so hopefully we can just clean it all up, get it all into one unit, industrial. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Korth. Any questions from the board? Alrighty. Anybody else here to speak on behalf or against in the public hearing?
No.
I'll close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-2. Colhane.
I have a motion by Mr. Culhane,
I'll second that motion.
a second by Oletsky. Any additional discussion from the board before we take a vote on this? All right, Brandy, can we take a roll call?
Yes. Kays.
Aye.
Hanson.
Yes.
Dargits Johnson.
Yes.
Oletsky.
Yes.
Colhane.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes. That motion carries. We'll move on to item 6B on the regular agenda, which is resolution number 2022-03, which is the plat of this subject property.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Blake. So this is, as we discussed, connected to the rezone application that we just heard. This is the plat of Korth First Edition, and then and we'll bring this plat to council at the second reading of the rezone to make sure that that's good and approved, and then this will come to that second hearing and clean up the property so it all within the boundaries has the same zoning designation as the I-1 light industrial. So one thing I just want to point out with this plat, as you can see, there are a lot of easements that run through this property. We still are showing, there's a miscellaneous document recorded for the vacation of Skyline Drive that there would be a utility easement retained, and that is noted here. And then all of the other utility easements are in place as they have been on previous plats. And then just to note this little hatched area, this is an 11-foot wide strip of Skyline Drive right-of-way vacated by this plat, and that is okay to do a vacation per the face of a plat, as long as there is not any improvements already done there. And that was missed during the vacation process, just as the surveyor was doing research for this plat. He found, and I verified, staff verified that there was an 11-foot vacation done on the north side of this M and St. L subdivision. So that is just continuing it for that stretch of Skyline Drive, because otherwise there would be a unnecessary jog in this lot line. So that's just continuing it all the way to the west now that Skyline Drive is vacated. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
All right, thank you, Brandy.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2022-03. Colhane.
I have a motion by Mr. Culhane
I'll second that motion.
and a second by Oletsky. Any additional discussion on this? All right, we'll take a roll call vote.
All right, Dolly,
Yes.
Colleen,
Yes.
Aletsky,
Yes.
Dargis Johnson,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Move on to item 7, open public comments. I don't believe we had anybody there in the room to speak or on Teams. So
Nope.
we'll move on to item 8 on the agenda is the new business. Any new business?
None that I have.
Any from the board? Moving on to item 9, old business.
I just want to add, the last meeting we had, we postponed the ordinance amendments to the Gateway Overlay District, if you guys recall. And just wanted to give an update on that. We are still looking into it and want to do some additional research. So it is on hold for now. And as far as the postponing goes, I just wanted to address it to let everyone know that when we are ready for it to come forward, we will do the public notice process over again so that it is, it comes forward and meeting statute requirements, so.
Is there any action required on the board regarding the postponement?
I talked with Attorney Roby about this, and he said that there doesn't have to be any formal action, just to address it.
As long as you follow the procedure when we do bring it back onto the agenda and we have the public notice and
Yep.
all required actions. Okay.
Yep, and that, because with the postponing, then you don't technically have to do that, except I still did notice for this meeting in case. And so then, but we're still looking into it. So, but if anyone was following it, just wanted to give that update on that postponement. But we will resubmit a public notice when it is ready to come forward again.
My recollection of that night was that we had a public hearing and we had a motion. We didn't have a motion to approve. We just went straight to a motion to postpone.
Yeah.
Normally, and I won't get in an argument with a parliamentarian who's an attorney, but the parliamentarian in me states that we should always postpone to a date specific or be a motion to approve, and then the motion dies and we settle the business. That's to me is the best thing from postponing from month to month. I do think it's appropriate that if we are postponing it beyond the next regular meeting, then we do need to republish.
Yeah.
But that's the parliament nerd in me.
And I believe we did, just that we said this date, but then since we, no guarantees that it would be the next meeting, so I think if we just let it rest and then we will public notice again and start that process over, so.
That's correct. This is Stacy again. Mr. Chair, if I may add something
Yes,
here, I'm just going to go back to the minutes and there was a motion by Case, seconded by Dargis Johnson, to postpone action on resolution number 2022-03, an amendment to chapter 21.54, and that is the GT1 Gateway Overlay District, to the next scheduled meeting. So that was how the motion read, and it was approved unanimously.
So how much of it, since that was the motion and we are at the next scheduled meeting, the action at that meeting placed a time date of when we would bring it back up. So technically we should be bringing it back up onto the table. My question is, do you have a date specific? I would make a motion to extend it again.
Well, it could be February 24th or March 10th. Most likely.
I would like to make a motion to postpone the action that was set to be taken up at this meeting to a meeting prior to February 24th or March 10th. I'll give you two. But technically, I really think you should have a motion to kill it, and then we open it back up and make it clean based on the court case that happened in Rapid City in Pennington County last year. That's just my own take on it. But since I was the maker of the previous motion, I will make a motion to postpone to February 24th. And then if we need to, postpone it to March 10th or whatever,
Okay.
We'll do it that way.
Okay, that works.
Second, Colleen.
Good. A motion and a second.
Yeah, because.
We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Okay. Dolly,
Yes.
Cohane,
Yes.
Aletsky,
Yes.
Dargis Johnson, Hanson,
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
Yeah, because
That motion carries.
we'll just keep looking at it that way, I guess, because I don't want to say either. I mean, maybe it won't be March 10th. It could be the meeting after that. So
Yeah. This
no
is,
guarantees,
yes.
but we'll address it.
Well, that was certainly helpful, Commissioner Hayes, from a staff standpoint, you know, and we very much appreciate your knowledge on that type of thing. And for sure, this is the cleanest way to go about it. So thank you.
Sounds good. Any additional old business?
None that I have.
Any reason for executive session?
No.
Alrighty, then we'll move to adjournment. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.